D1 Rejects, episode 83. Kobe Manzo.
Willie Snead.
Tyshawn King. Cade Manzo. And it was funny. I was sitting next to Mike the other day in class, and we were talking about his part in the pod.
Me.
What'd you call him? You flipped the...
Keiko Marlin.
Yeah, Keiko Marlin.
Kike Marlin.
I don't know. We're just not going to do aliases anymore. We'll just say their names because that was hilarious, though. But this one... We've got a good episode for you, per usual. Jordan Jones joins us from Ferris.
You couldn't even do that to his shit.
What?
Jordan Jones.
Oh, I couldn't mess it up. No, I could not mess it up.
Keiko Marlin. Jordan Jones.
Yeah. You couldn't even flip it over. Yeah, you're right. That's definitely an easy one pronunciation-wise. Made my job easy. But he had a fun time on the show, I thought. We talked all about Ferris's, their playoff run, next moves for him, and he had some pretty strong things to say about the D2 playoffs and about who he thought deserved to be in that D2 championship game. So stick around for those because I'm sitting there like this, like, these are fighting words. Like these are. I mean, he's graduated, he's moved on, so I guess he can say whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
reign.
He's not coming back. So those are definitely interesting. We talk about how the D2 playoff, the structure of that, I believe is flawed, and I think a lot of people would agree with me on that one. Then moving on to not much GLIAC really news today, but we're gonna talk about why I should host this year's GLIAC Football Media Day. I think it would be awesome, and so I'm going to give my pitch later on in the episode. But in the NFL side of things, we've got the divisional round picks. Take a look at the remaining playoff bracket for the NFL. And finally, Ben Johnson. He's staying in Detroit. That's a big pickup for the Lions. We'll talk about why, first of all, and then why it benefits the Lions this last year with him at the helm. Huge stuff. MSU working on $11 million renovation to their football facility. We've also got... a video from the Colorado football team that we're going to take a look at that is interesting, to say in the least. But stick around for all that stuff. As always, you can watch this episode on YouTube if you are. Little red line there at the bottom of the video. Timestamps. Fast forward to any part of that conversation you'd like to look at, and then move on with your life. You can listen pretty much anywhere else. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it. Twitter, D1_Rejects. Instagram, Division1 Rejects. And I believe TikTok is also just Division1 Rejects. So... get us on all those, but before we get into all those videos, the reactions, whatever else comes, let's go to Jordan. Joining us on this episode, two-time national champion, just had the honor of being named a second-team All-American as well, and he's currently preparing for a shot to play at the next level, Jordan Jones. What's going on, man?
Yo. What up, man? I'm glad to be on the D1 Reject podcast. I watched Nick Thomas's when you did him. He's from Fair. That's my boy.
Oh yeah.
And I was just so happy to see him just talk on there. So, and that's when I found out about you guys. So I'm like, man, that's sweet that you guys do this.
I appreciate that, dude. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Nick was the man. He you got to kind of pry it out of him though. You know what I mean? You got to get him talking a little bit. Once he got comfortable, you loosen him up a little bit. He was great.
Yeah. Nick's a serious dude. Like he just. Cause we'll work together, so we do work up in Big Rapids together. He's just always serious, but he's really cool once you get to know him, real serious. And you need guys like that because they bring out the best of you.
100%, dude. But let's talk about you, man. Big year for you. What's it been like now? I mean, you're removed from it a little bit. I know you've got, and we'll get to all the stuff you're doing, plans for the future, things like that. But you got to sit back and reflect on it. What's that been like? Just looking back at this last year for you.
Man, it's been a great year, great 2 years, honestly. Just, playing at Ferris, playing those two championship teams. It was great. We were dominant football program. Honestly, I've never been a part of anything so great in my life. So yeah, that was great. And then personally, just as a player, man, it was I got to give thanks to my coaches, man. They just let me play every game, play free, play loose, and just go ahead out there and make plays. And if I made a mistake, they never got mad because they knew I was better than that. So that's pretty much what it was. So I was able to, rack up a couple accolades, first team All GLIAC, honorable mention All American. And then the best thing about it was that we were 2-time national champions. So I was like, that's the coolest part.
That's it, man.
And yeah, that's like, honestly, I can't, like, nobody can take that from us, just being like, I don't know, Ferris State, man. It's great time.
I love it, dude. And that's something I see all the time, too. Is like, especially you guys, like pregame, whatever type of music you guys got coming out onto the field, things like that. Everyone knows the standards are, extremely high over there, but they let you guys be loose. Like, you guys are constantly loose. And I think pregame is obviously the best example because when the whistle blows, like, you guys are locked in, obviously. But talk about that environment.
Yeah, so yeah, the standard, man. Like, okay, so when I first got to Ferris State, I tell people this story a lot, but like, we're doing a one-on-one, like D line, O line, and Zach Sealer, who y'all probably watched this weekend
Oh
make the
yeah.
fumble recovery for a championship, for a touchdown. His first rep of one-on-ones. I'm a baby freshman, redshirt freshman. Zach Sealer is 6'5", 290 DN. His first one-on-one rep that I ever seen him do, he like clubs the dude, rips, and then like easy win. But in the process, just ripped this guy's arm off, pretty much, like popped his shoulder, and I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, this is how it is here. This is college football. So and that was my first view. This first day of pads, I'm like, wow. So I'm just a baby freshman. I'm like, well, this is what I gotta do. I gotta get in the weight room. So I had my roommate Ian Hall, who's a weight room junkie, along with me, and we from that day forward, we understood the standard, and it is what it is.
I love that. I
A
love
year
that, dude.
later, yeah, a year later, Austin Edwards, he was a beast animal. We saw him pretty much just become a really good player to a really great player. Then a year later, we got Caleb Murphy coming in out of nowhere, just dog. So it was just like a standard. It was just like Ferris State defensive lineman. You just have to be a beast, or you're. And then the crazy thing is, like the people behind me, like the young guys, is a kid named Shadarick Bradford, kid named Jake Pomodin. They're just as good. Like
Next
it
up.
won't be a fall off for next year.
Yeah, I
Like
love that, dude. That's
Ferris
huge.
State,
That's what,
yeah.
you get to that level of a program. That's the next man up is a big thing. But like, I think the U kind of popularized the statement, but talking about making your backup better than you are. And you guys, the way you've been able to turn over and have these players like over and over again. But I guess I can go right off like you coming in as a redshirt freshman. I had to imagine you were a little bit smaller than you were now because I read you played running back in high school.
Yeah. I played running back in high school.
Just bullying kids or what?
I mean, yeah, not bullying, but
You coming
I
out?
was good.
You a finesse back?
I could move. I
Okay.
throw a spin move in there. I
Okay,
got a good little jump cut, but I'm a downhill. I got to the hole.
That's me,
Got
man.
5 or 10,
Me.
enjoyed it. Yeah, and I also have a little basketball background, so I hooped a lot. I was 4 year
Okay.
varsity basketball player, so that's where kind of my speed and quickness comes from. That even allowed me to play running back.
I love
Being
that. So,
honest.
and then
Yep.
again, assuming I'm reading it right, the Divine Child connection. Same high
Mhm.
school as Aiden Hutchinson, correct?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
did you guys have crossover there?
Say it again.
Did you guys have crossover there? Like, were you guys there at the same time?
Yeah. So he graduated in 2018. I graduated in 2017. So I
Okay.
didn't play football. I didn't play football until my junior year of high school.
Damn.
So I got to play with him. I got to play with him his sophomore year and his junior year, and I kind of just watch him just become a dog, and then just continue to watch it on TV. Now I'm like, man, it was expected. It was when he grew from 6 foot to 6'4" in a year, and then just hit the weight room. It was expected. Like he's where he's supposed to be on the Lions. Having 9.5 sacks and 3 interceptions.
I love that, dude. That's like the best.
Absolutely.
It's the best endorsement you can give anyone. Like that's where he's meant to be. That's where he needs to be. And I mean, I'm a big Lions guy. I'm a Michigan State fan, but like, how can you not root for the kid? Like, I loved him. He was playing for Michigan. I was at that Michigan-Ohio State game, not this year, but the past year, where he just exploded. He's all over the place. But kind of back on you guys. You touched on all the accolades, all the awards, and you're just one of the Ferris State defensive linemen that have done that. But really, talk about the individual awards come with winning, and you guys do so much of that. What is that kind of put into all of that? I got to imagine the emphasis is obviously on the winning, the championships, and then the accolades just come secondary.
Yeah, so the winning is first and foremost. You know what I'm saying? We got great coaches. Like that's what we want to do. We want to win and get those extra games. So, you only get 10 games, 10 games in a regular season. And then if you make it to the playoffs, depending if you get a first round bye, you get 4 or 5.
Yep.
And those extra 4 games is 4 games of film. And 4 games of just, looking good on tape. So, and that's where you can get more stats. And, and let the rest play out for itself.
That's a good way to look at it. I like that.
Yeah. So that's pretty much, and when you saw that coming up, when we in 2017 when I was a true freshman, they lost in like the quarterfinals. 2018 went all the way, got all those extra games. A couple dudes on that team got looks. 2019, went to the Final Four, extra 4 games. 2021, natty, extra 5 games. 2022, natty as well, extra 4 or 5 games. So, like, you got all those games, and the Warriors will come, man. And then there's just a place with just a bunch of dogs, man. It's not much to do in Big Rapids but play football. You play football, you do your school, you have fun, but football is first and foremost for a lot of people. Another thing I'll tell you, every player on that field for Ferris State feels like they're the best player on the team, and that without them, the team can't win. Which is just not true, but that's just how everybody feels. You know what I mean?
That's how it's supposed to be, though.
I would say it's confidence, right? It's just confidence.
Yeah, the confidence of the players are through the roof, and you see it every day in practice. Arguments and stuff. I'm better. I'm like, you might be, but it don't matter. I mean, you might be, but I think I'm the best too. So that's another cool thing, great thing. And then the coaches, man, the coaches think the same way too. Like I don't know, bro. It's crazy. I would give, if I was a recruiter, man, I'm sending all my kids to Ferris.
I think you just gave the pitch right there, dude. Like that was the pitch. That environment, I think, is what everyone's looking for, right? The competitive environment that like guys are going to go at each other, but it's for the right reasons, right? You're not doing it just to scrap with someone. You're doing it to get the best out of your guys. At least that's what it sounds like. So we've talked about it a bit on this show. We'll stick on the playoff conversation a bit. The playoff bracket for Division II. You look at the FCS scene, and this is where we're going to go back and contrast and compare here. The FCS scene, you've got 2 teams from the same conference that go and play in the national championship because their seeding is so much different than ours. They go through and they see the top 8 teams in the country, and then they go through and do the at-large bids. But North Dakota State and South Dakota State, the 1 and the 3 seeds, even though they're in the same leagues, very same region, almost bordering states, they don't meet all the way to the championship. I think you can kind of understand what I'm getting at with this one. But now, how awesome would it have been for D2 to follow this type of scheme? You guys have that matchup with Grand Valley maybe 2 or 3 games down the road, or potentially in the national championship. I think a lot of people would have been looking forward to that one.
Oh man, if we got to play GV and the Natty, that all of Texas would have been filled with Michigan. It would have been so sweet. Like going and playing there this year, after losing to them in the regular season and going right to GV in the playoffs, best experience ever. That place was packed. It was loud. I can only imagine that in a Natty game because I think I watched the highlights of that North Dakota South Dakota game. Yep. I'm like, man, they showed out. You know what I'm saying? But
I'm saying you get a rivalry like that, like 2 schools that North Dakota State, like they speak for themselves, but South Dakota State is like, I would say they're on the come up, but like they're here. Like there's no come up. Like those guys they've been around, but now they've finally, I think, just like reached the summit. So that is, it's interesting for them, that dynamic. But for me, the big thing that stands out when you have the final power rankings for D2 come out, you guys are number 1, and number 2 is not Mines, but it's GV. And you're like, why do we have that matchup in what would have been the 2nd or 3rd round of the playoffs when we could have saved that for so much later? And that's just, I think that's just a flawed part of our system. But obviously for you guys, it's one game at a time, and you have all the coach speak that comes with that.
Even Michigan and Ohio State could end up playing each other if they pulled out their games. 2 really close games. That rivalry game in the Natty would have been crazy.
Very true. You're right. I totally forgot
on the D1 level
where they were seated.
Yep.
But moving on. I mean, we'll stay with you guys. We'll stay with the championship, and this is something that I've wanted to talk with you guys, or at least someone from, especially your D-line unit about. Batoka, he gets announced as the Harlan Hill winner the night before the championship game. We see Caleb, his tweets, his reactions. You remember watching those. It's not like you guys needed any extra motivation for that game day. I know you guys were pumped up, but I just know you boys had to be ready to get in that backfield and just get after him, man.
Yeah, no doubt. So I was with Caleb. I wasn't with him when the announcement. I wasn't with him when the announcement came up. But like 5 minutes after the announcement, I went in his room and man, he was mad. And I was like, bro, Caleb, don't worry. I'm like, don't worry, bro. We're about to hit this guy so many times. We're gonna make him look like he shouldn't even belong on the field. In which we made it look like, like for at least the first half. In the second half, he got going a little bit, threw a little check down,
Yeah,
and
I
missed
mean, if
assignment.
you win that award, you gotta, he's.
Yeah,
You
you
knew
got
he
to
was
show
going to come
out,
out and play, right? But that was the impressive thing is how you guys were able to limit him, especially early. 2 interceptions. One of them was for a touchdown. The defense was just firing on all cylinders. What was that environment like? And for you guys, you already talked about the individual confidence of each of those guys in the defense. As a unit, that confidence had to just be like up.
Oh man, there's a play. So I remember I got him first. I got the first sack, and then the next play we collapsed the pocket. He gets out the pocket, and we got our defensive back Vincent Cooley just comes and flips him. I'm like, woo! And he was feeling it all game long, man. And I ain't gonna lie, football, we talking mass. We're like, man, you don't deserve that award. Their starting center is a first team All American. I don't know how. Like we're just tearing them apart all game. You know what I mean? So I'm like, they and they didn't. I don't think they should have been there. I don't think they should have been there with us. Honestly, it should have been a GV or West Florida or a Pitt State when we played. Like those 3 teams were far better and dominant than Colorado Mines. If I'm being honest.
I hear you, man.
But,
hey, and I mean,
yeah.
You look at those games, and I watched a lot of those games, and the scores and the flow of those games would tend to agree with you. Now, that's why I think maybe our playoff system is a little bit flawed, but the argument to that, I think the counter to that is how many times do you have a team like Ferris State that's able to reproduce the success like that? You guys you're kind of a unicorn in that regard. So I don't, that's one thing is like, how can you account for a team to go and do that? But don't think I forgot about you, man. 4 solo tackles, 2 sacks for the kid. Showed out on the biggest stage, huh?
Really should have had 2.5. Okay. They didn't give me enough. They didn't give me one. But it's all right. It's all right. We have fun out there. That was the main thing. So, being in Michigan, us Michigan boys, it's been great all winter. Man, we get to Texas. Like the first couple of days in Texas were great, but game day came, sunshine, not a cloud in the sky, and we're like, man, this is beautiful. 1 p.m. We're like, man, and we're about to go ball, and that's exactly what we did. And and we always say it as a D line, we set the tone.
Oh yeah.
So that was thing first. Like I think Larray, number 8. He had 2 big QB hits early, just laying them out. And then Ian's rushing hard, Murph rushing hard. Murph gets a tip ball. I'm like, it's my turn next. I know. I'm like, I got to touch him. So I end up getting a sack. And then Ian had a sack. Then Murph had a sack. And then, man, it was a great day to be a Ferris State Bulldog in that Natty Champ.
And a really bad one to be a fan of mine. Because like you said, it's like someone makes a play. So then like maybe you divert a little bit of attention and it's like, nah, like everyone's capable of making plays on that line. Following up just with you, next steps for you. I remember seeing you tweet about trying to find an agent. Did you get that done, I'm assuming?
Yeah. So I have an agent. Yep, I have an agent at the moment. Currently training hard.
I'm gonna say talk to us about the impact.
Yeah. Impact's great. Yep. Impact Sports Performance. I'm with Jim Cabasso up in Novi, Michigan. Great guy. Man, he's getting us bigger, stronger, faster. I can already see changes in my body. I've been there for 2.5 weeks. I'm in there with a bunch of animals. Our starting center, Maroof, there. Cy Barnett, I'm sure y'all familiar with him. He's playing. He's up in there. A couple guys from Michigan State. A cat from South Carolina. A cat from Illinois. Cat from Memphis, and some cat from Charlotte.
Big spot.
I don't know if y'all know. Yeah. So it's a good spot right now where the training is intense, hard, and it's every day, and it's very competitive. And at the same time, and then everybody's just been growing around each other, so the love is growing there too, and everybody's rooting for each other. So that's been pretty cool. But so that's pretty much it. I really do want to go play at the next level. So I've just been working hard, and us Ferris boys, it's inbred in us. We just work hard. We get to it every day.
I love that,
and that won't change even if I don't make it to football. If I have to go do another career path, I'm just gonna get right.
Same
right
mindset.
After it.
Yeah, same mindset. Take it to whatever you go for, man. I think that's like when you sit down and talk to guys, especially like a lot of guys like you, like Ty, you've got aspirations to play at the next level. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I've never thought about that. Like in my life, I got out like you do the little thing in kindergarten where you write down like your dream career. I said a college football player.
I'm putting NFL.
I said college football player. I didn't even write NFL. I don't know what the hell grounded me at that age to like. I should have had some bigger
college
dreams.
Football. What the hell?
what am I? I don't know what that was all about, but
shit, you see a dream.
That's always been it, dude. So, but I think that's huge. Like, you take the mindset that you get from football, and when people ask me like what football does for myself or athletes coming through, like if you can take the things that you learn in this and apply it to whatever your life is after football, that's a win, man. Like that's a huge win. So I gotta imagine, like you said, you want to play at the next level, NFL, XFL, CFL. Anything comes your way, right? I'm assuming all those are on the table.
Yeah, all on the table, and I got a good amount of college tape. I started 3 years, all conference 3 years, all American my senior.
And all the playoff runs, like you were saying, man, it's all tape opportunities.
All the playoff runs, yep. So just got better consistently every year. So I gotta take that opportunity, gotta run with it if that opportunity presents itself, no doubt.
You're the man, brother.
No doubt.
That's all I got for you. That flew by, though. That flew by. We're like almost 20 minutes in. That did.
For real, that flew by. Yeah, man. I can talk, man. I like talking. It's like honestly, I love your job because man, like, I watch podcasts all the time. Like I didn't find you until you did that with Nick. Yeah. But I watched you like 4 or 5 of y'all episodes, but I watched a lot of $1 million worth of games.
Oh God.
Yeah. Nelk Boys, JRE, Joe Rogan.
Yeah. There's a ton of good ones out there, man. There's a ton. But hey, you're gonna have a fan in us moving forward, man. I'm excited to see where you end up. We'll definitely be in touch and get you back on here. Follow up next stage of your career, brother.
No doubt, man. I would love to, man. And I follow you guys on Spotify and Twitter, Instagram. So
let's go, man.
Yeah. Y'all got a full-time life supporter right here, man.
I love that. Hey, but like I said, really appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming on, and we'll be in touch, all right?
No doubt, man. Have a good night.
Appreciate Jordan coming on. He seems like a cool dude. Excited for him to – I think he'll have an opportunity to play at the next level. Ty, we talked a little bit not off camera, but off record about, like, he's disruptive as hell. Like, inside, he does a lot of work for them that I think maybe went unnoticed.
Yeah, like Caleb, you feel me? Caleb Murphy, he get all the sacks, so he obviously, like,
the stat leader, he gets a lot of the credit.
Like, when you go and watch film, like, Jordan, he, like, real disruptive. Like, we were more, like I say, we was more so focused on him during watching film than Caleb. Because Caleb, like, it's to a point where he just going to do what he going to do regardless. You feel me? Mm-hmm. But Jordan, like, he's a real game. If you can wreck the interior of an offensive line, you'll wreck an entire game.
And also,
that's what he do. He wrecks interior offensive lines.
With his game, too, like, that only benefits a guy like Caleb.
You feel me?
Because when you have things on the inside that are going haywire, you're taking a quarterback's eyes there. He's got to move around, like, and then what does that free up?
You can't put a guard. You can't put a guard and a tackle on Caleb now. Mm-hmm. You got to keep a guard inside to help double team Jordan, and that just helped everybody else when he got to take doubles and triples because, like, it's not because he just, like, some imposing. He's so fast. He's so quick and he's so fast. But he's strong too. Like he's strong than a motherfucker. And like when you got like a little baby Aaron Donald.
He played running back in high school, man. He said.
In reality, like a little baby Aaron Donald. Like he's so fast and he's so like
he said he had that B button in high
strong. You see it on the field. Shit, he was out there. He's out there getting busy.
I don't know if running back to D line is the typical transition for what we see of that stuff, but the progression, he's made it work. So pretty cool.
I won't be making that transition.
No.
I think I'm going to keep toting the rock.
Pretty cool that he got the chance to play with Hutch, too. Because I remember I was scrolling through his feed. And I was scrolling through his Twitter feed and retweeting, like, all the Hutch stuff. And I was like, then I looked, I was like, Divine Child. I was like, that's definitely where Hutch went. So I had to make sure it was the same, like, Divine Child, that right next to each other. And I'm like, that's
when
definitely
you said he was like, we got to speak of Divine Child. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like a boy band or something?
Jesus.
Dearborn Divine Child.
Yes.
I'm not from Michigan, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, no, and I wouldn't expect you to. But
it's obvious, son.
Before we get into all of our stuff, I wanted to give my pitch on the podcast and just to put it out there like publicly that I want to host this upcoming GLIAC Football Media Day. And we've had Cam Trudell, who was he was the former associate commissioner of the GLIAC, the Great Lakes Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. That is a mouthful. Trudell is no longer with the GLIAC, so my in is not really there anymore. He's a guy that's kind of been our correspondent with the league. I'll have to figure out who else to come on to talk about like league matters and stuff like that, because I think it's a really cool part of our show.
When did he get out?
Just pretty recently. Pretty recently. I don't have an exact date or anything, and even if I did, I don't know if I'd be like, allowed to elaborate more on it. But he's no longer with the GLIAC. So I emailed Chris Dunbar, who is the commissioner, like the head commissioner of the GLIAC. She got back to me within like an hour and basically said that they don't really have any plans for the GLIAC football media day. They're still working things out. So I suppose it's better than a no.
She got back to you quick, though?
She did. She got back to me very quick. I told her, if there's anything you need from me, like, I want to make this happen. And like for the GLIAC, for me to be a student athlete in the GLIAC that's majoring in multimedia journalism, that already interviews, I mean, I've interviewed half the league and players and coaches on our show. We've had representation from every single team, not only in our conference, but almost in the state. We've had representation from all the teams. And you look around the Midwest and the impact that we've had with guys there and what we do on this show and making connections and interviewing and just like, you know, the things that we do, the things that we say, I think could really translate over to a more official setting with like air quotes. I use air quotes there because we're more casual on this platform. But if you watched last year's GLIAC Media Day, and this is not a shot to Emery, I believe his name was, he came in to host it. He may have prepared 2 questions for each of the, you know, the coaches and the players that showed up for Media Day. So we have 3 guys. We had Nystrom, John, and DeAndre that drove 7 hours down there to Wayne State to go to this media day to be asked maybe 3 questions for their live segment. And they go out and they do it. They did a little thing with like the kids, you know, at Wayne State. They did a little kids camp, but like it, to me, that's a waste of a trip, and it's a waste of an opportunity where the GLIAC, since we are this SEC of D2, since we are this upper echelon of Division II football, we should take that and apply it to all aspects of this league and what we should be capable of. There's no reason that should not transcend the field and that it should be contained within the boundaries of the white lines. I think that is a missed opportunity that our league has had for multiple years now, and I think I myself am not going to be the one to go in there and flip it on its head, but I think on camera, I would be the person to inject energy and inject life into that situation, and I don't think that's just confidence in myself. I don't think anyone could do that better than me because of my understanding and my comprehension of the league and my ability to connect with people. We see that we just saw with our conversation with Jordan. Like, him and I have never met before in real life. Very different backgrounds, different people. Him and I could have talked for another hour. Like, the dude, we're just getting along. Like, that's just what happens. So, you did not know you're going to get that whole monologue from me, did you?
Yeah, it kind of went like, this is like, put the camera on me.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you.
It was slowly zooming in.
Very rarely do I take the chance, the analogy is like get up on my soapbox, and I don't think like I have a platform enough yet to like even do that, to be honest with you. Like, we don't have that type of platform, but like, that being said, this is my platform and I will voice my opinions, and I wanted to just like almost speak that into existence, like put it out there into the universe, and like I want to make that happen.
I'm all behind you, Slime.
Yeah.
I feel like, you feel me, like just like seeing like the dedication that you had to this kind of stuff, you feel me? Like, you built a whole studio for a podcast that we was doing out of a dorm room. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I wish I could have seen those episodes, stuff, like, but we didn't even have cameras.
You can't fake that kind of stuff, you know? Like, it's easy for somebody who done got it made for years and years and years to just go up there and be like, all right, I got to do it.
Yeah. Versus
this is something that you want to do, and not because you just want it for yourself, but you want to help the league and help, you feel me? That help Northern get some publicity, and you feel me? And it help yourself in the long run too, but you feel me? It's just more than just yourself, and I feel like they should let you go down there and host it, to be honest, because you gotta.
I got the credentials.
I'm sorry. You do a mini media day every week when we bring in on different type of GLIAC guys. You feel me? Guys, whether it's players, coaches. You feel me? Players and coaches from other conferences and other divisions and leagues or whatnot. Like, it's a mini media day every week in here, you know? And I feel like at that point, they might as well get somebody who, I guarantee you, the GLIAC, somebody on every GLIAC team knows what Division I rejects is.
I would hope so, man. Yeah. I definitely would hope so.
Is there a school that we haven't got to?
No.
Exactly.
All of them.
So everybody, the GLIAC knows who Division I rejects is.
Yeah.
I feel like they should do it like, let you come up there as Division I rejects.
That would be cool. That might be a stretch for them. I love the idea.
What if we all went up there?
I love the idea. That might be a stretch for them to make that happen, but I think that'd be awesome. And like I said, like the type of content that we have on here, it verges on the long form content. Our full episodes are usually typically about an hour.
Yeah.
But when you are able to produce long form content like that, you have these longer engaging conversations, just like we've had with Jordan, just like we've had from other guys around the league. And That is what our media day for the GLIAC has been lacking for so long.
For sure, a connection.
When you ask guys to come up on the stage and it feels official and everyone has suit and ties on, which maybe you don't want to avoid. Like, you're not going to avoid that. Like, people are going to get dressed up for something like that. But you don't have to act as if you have the shirt and tie on, if that makes any sense. Your questions should be more engaging. They should provoke thoughtful answers. It shouldn't be, you guys had this record last year. How do you build on that and win more games this year? Nobody fucking wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. That is every coach speak, every basic journalist question out there. It's lazy. It's absolutely lazy. And I know this is not attacking the GLIAC. I just think there's so much untapped potential there. So that'll be my last thing. I was officially stepping off the soapbox, and we can continue with the episode. But I need to get that off my chest and speak it into existence.
Kobe Manzo for Media Day.
President.
We get
Kobe Manzo for president.
We're going to get a public campaign going. But let's, I think we start right off with the MSU video. What do you guys think?
For sure.
Let's do it. So,
mind-blowing.
I would say so. I'd say it's pretty big time. Michigan State. Hold on. Do you get that again? Get that again for thumbnail? That's crazy. That's crazy. Michigan State has just released this video that I'm about to show you on their social media platforms, and it is a look inside the new football building and process at East Lansing, is what it says here. We are going to take a look and watch.
Is there a West Lansing?
No.
No, hold on. Anyways, this video, I had a mistake on my end here. This video, Michigan State, brand new facility, $11 million going into this for phase 1. It's expected to be completed by October of this year. It's a little bit of a fly-through of a render. Let's check this one out, fellas. Like I said, it's a render. We
love renders, bro.
We love them. We eat this shit up here at D1 Rejects. Yep. Look at these frozen people. Okay. Maybe let's just stop that right there.
Wait.
3 TVs in the tub is crazy. Look at homie right there. Why is he sitting like that? No, wait a minute. Why is he sitting the way that he's sitting right there with his feet all the way up that? If you sit like that in a tub.
Think about how strong his core is. Look at how he's sitting. Think about how strong his core is for him to sit like that. If you
sit like that in a tub, I don't know what to tell you. That's wrong.
Think of that as a core exercise. Look, you know how strong you got to be to sit like that? I'm going to try to sit like that for the rest of the episode. Let's see how far we get.
Yep, knees up to the chest. He ain't even holding them either. Oh, he is holding them. Okay. Glossing over that. 3 TVs in there where you can just sit, relax. I'm assuming, is that a hot or a cold tub? It doesn't really specify. There's no bubbles or anything to let us know.
Am I wrong, or isn't it called the Tom Izzo football building or something?
Yes, it is called the Tom Izzo football facility or center. Yeah. Ty, keep us updated on how that feels. We'll check back in on you at the end of the video, and we'll see how you're doing. Moving on, though, from the tubs, moving over here, lockers, looks like. Oh my gosh. They each get a throne? Look at this. It looks like an esports room. Okay, so apparently one tub wasn't enough. Did we see that last one?
No, that was just 360. That's the same dude.
Oh, it is.
It is. You're right. We didn't get it from the other angle. Good call. I did not catch that because that white wall threw me off for a second. He has the same stance. And Tyler, about 30 seconds later, how you feeling?
Bro, my shit burns. My thighs.
Seriously?
My thighs burn.
All right, we're gonna keep going. We're checking in. It looks like some laundry lockers.
This is sweet. Watch
How about this?
Let's talk.
We ain't see nothing. What the hell?
Dude. That is pretty sweet.
There's Tuck right there on the ramp.
Was that Tuck? They put Tuck on the render?
Go back.
Let's see. Was that Tuck?
That's definitely him walking up the ramp. Keep going back.
So a black dude.
Yeah, he said that's Tuck. Black dude, no hair.
That's Tuck for sure.
Look at
him. There he is. That looks just like him.
How can you tell that's Coach Tuck?
That's Tuck for sure.
I don't know. Okay, but either way, sweet stuff there. Looks like that's the indoor facility. Looks right out to that. High ceilings in this place. I don't know what kind of giants they have walking around campus. Little Papa shot there.
High ceilings, like
play around.
Money.
That's true. Little ping pong. Ooh, the Gruff. Hey, the inclusion of the Gruff Sparty.
Love it.
Love that. We love that on the helmets this year. Those were clean. Oh, the stairs. Oh.
His ass playing Roblox.
The Nike. Oh.
It's like a Roblox game.
This is a Roblox game, dude.
Whoa, what the... Look at this. Look at the music on the bottom or something. You see it playing?
So yeah, there's some type of like interactive feature on the displays. I see exactly what you're talking about. That doesn't look like it's just there. It looks like it extends onto the display. Ty, how are we doing with the legs up? You've crossed your legs now.
It was only supposed to be a minute 30. You keep pausing and rewinding the video. It's making it longer than it's supposed to be. My feet are starting to go numb.
Back to the video. We'll finish. Make sure Ty can last here.
See, look, it's moving.
It is moving. You're right. It was moving there. The Nike Elite Lab. Look at that logo with the little like science breaker on it, beaker or whatever it's called. That's sick. Front part here. So I will say too, that whole portion right there, all of there he is.
Where? That is him,
It's a
dude.
bald black guy. No, it's not. He can't be in two places at once.
He moved.
This
And
change into a suit. This right here is all a video board. Pretty sweet stuff. You can see that's moving a little bit, little interactive right there. Moving on down the hallway. It looks like
There's K9. No, go back, go back. He's actually in the wall. He's in the wall.
Okay, I'll take
I
your word
swear
for
to
it.
God.
I'll take your word for it.
Song.
I'll take your word for it.
This nigga's excited. It's K9. He's in the wall. Go back.
Yellow chairs.
It's a chair. Oh God, it's the yellow chair. Go back. Gatorade. I swear to God, it's Gatorade.
Look at this, dude. So that's coming
Window.
That's this is coming from the other way, correct?
Yeah.
Window. Oh God, it's a window. I swear to God, it was a window.
But this is coming from the other way, coming out by that video board. That's definitely not tucked. But look at that. It leads out to like a little, it's like an atrium or something. Like, what is that out there? Or is that like outside?
I don't even know what the atrium is.
Super Bowls?
And here we go. We're
Trophies?
back.
Did you see that?
Here we go. We're on the outside.
He talking about Super Bowl?
There's Super Bowl trophies.
There's no little
I swear to
parties, bro.
God. Look.
What are those Arlen Barties? What the fuck?
Fuck you guys, dude.
Bro, these niggas tweaking. They just stole somebody scrapped NFL.
They
got the
bought the
rejected
replicas.
ones.
They
Yeah.
bought the replicas.
Why would they do that?
Maybe they didn't.
It's
they
probably
couldn't
for,
fill
like-
it with
Get your
national
mic far away.
championship.
It's probably for like
Yep.
recruiting, like show.
You're still holding
guys,
it, by the
they
way.
do
How
that.
we feeling?
They couldn't show national championship trophies, so they had to show Lombardies.
Damn.
Does MSU have a national championship?
Yeah.
They do.
When?
So, after 2000.
No,
I believe so.
not a chance.
Yes.
After the year 2000,
Yes.
Michigan State.
Yes.
Hey Siri, when was Michigan State's last football championship?
Maybe 98.
We're going back on it now. That is a good question. I'm trying to find it here.
All right, I'm done, bro. My shit killing me.
What? What?
Nigga, the last time they won was 1966.
Shut up.
What was it?
This nigga said after 2000. Oh
Okay,
my God.
listen. I'm thinking of the Rose Bowl, 2014, that Rose Bowl win.
That ain't no national championship, fool.
It's the next best thing.
Was kind of the equivalent.
No, it's not.
It was at the time.
It really was before you had the.
College
And
football
it's before
playoff.
playoffs.
No, if you weren't in the Rose Bowl was a bigger game, yeah, sure, but it wasn't the equivalent to a national championship. Maybe to y'all.
I thought that's how that they were. I don't know. Up for debate, but either way, video is absolutely sick. We'll finish it out with a little. I would call it a drone shot, but it's not a drone shot. It's just a render. Michigan State football logo. Pretty sweet stuff. Like I said, $11 billion for phase 1, which I guess that is, and it's supposed to be completed by October of this year. So pretty tight timeline on a lot of that stuff. It will be really interesting to track that moving forward. But we can move on, fellas. We'll move on to the NFL scene, and with that, the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. We've got the bracket that I'll pull up right here for the big screen so we can all take a look at that. It's a little large. There we are. The bracket for the divisional round of the NFL. 3 members of the NFC East still in it. Probably one of the biggest storylines from this playoffs. The Eagles obviously got the bye at that 1 seed in the NFC. They take on for the Giants. And then you have the Cowboys taking on the 49ers in the NFC. And, the Cowboys... Is it the time? Have they finally put it all together? It kind of feels like they might have. And Pollard especially.
When everyone starts saying this,
that's when they usually
That's
tank.
when they shit, yep.
Yep. But obviously going up against the Niners too, I really liked, Micah Parsons got asked a question this week, and he got asked, have you guys gone up against a team that has the absolute number of weapons that San Francisco has. And
Ourselves?
he said no, but have they ever gone against someone that like us? I mean, that's a great, it's not conceited. It's a confident answer. And I think that was just like the greatest way to not deflect, but like indirectly answer that question.
I've just seen nobody beating the Chiefs.
Yeah. We haven't even got to the AFC yet, but AFC side of things.
Just seen them up there.
Chiefs, they get to host the Jaguars after their storybook comeback against the Chargers. And then you have, on the other side of things, the Bengals and Bills game that could shape up to be a very competitive one. Now, that's an AFC Championship rematch, correct? Or no, that would have been Chiefs Bengals. Yeah, Chiefs Bengals. Sorry. Both those games though, I think will be decent. Obviously, the Chiefs probably pretty heavily favored in that one, but I think it'll be competitive. I really do.
In Kansas City, bro. Raps.
That Jaguars team is playing pretty confident, and they weren't rattled. I think that was very important for me.
The Chiefs have the greatest quarterback of our generation.
That's fair, but
he ain't losing.
I guess we'll see, man. I guess we'll see.
Well,
What other big
think, Ty?
takeaways? What other big takeaways from this argument? How about the Giants? We talked about Daniel Jones already this last week, but can him and Saquon have the same performance and the same impact on a game like they did against the Vikings?
No, the Eagles are much better against the run, and they have a much better defense as a whole, and probably a better offense than the Vikings. Surprisingly, like when you look at everybody that the Vikings got, the Eagles probably have a better offense too.
They've played better, certainly when Jalen Hurts is in the lineup.
I don't anticipate the Giants pulling that one off. Never say never because you never know. But I got the Eagles, I got Dallas, I got Cincy, and I got Kansas City.
You have Cincy.
Yeah, Josh Allen has been playing horrible football.
So that's my thing, is their last game, I said it here, they survived the Dolphins, right? It wasn't in any way, shape, or form a strong performance from Buffalo. They will host this game, obviously, and I don't know why. Again, not a betting man. I won't be putting money on this game, but if I were, I think I'd throw a lot on Buffalo. I expect them to have a really big bounce-back week because I don't know what it is about it. I just feel like that's a character-building moment for them. And they have faced adversity. Like, they didn't go undefeated during the regular season. But I think a moment like that in the playoffs is the same reason why I like Jacksonville. Not like Jacksonville to win, but I like them to be competitive, is that Trevor Lawrence threw 4 interceptions in that first half. And the fact that him in his, second year is able to go and come back and not only that, but keep himself engaged, but keep his teammates engaged. I think that's very important and overlooked, too, is that for a young quarterback like that, everything that you do is being micro-examined on every level, right? And so for him to keep his composure and stuff like that, it just leads me to believe that they'll be competitive because he's going to keep their heads in the game.
My argument to that is the Jaguars had no choice but to be engaged because there was no next week to look forward to.
That's a great point.
There was no we can just scrap this. It was against, at that point, it's do or die. So I feel like they had no choice but to be engaged. Not to take anything away, but it was either be engaged or lose by 60 at that point.
That's now you're playing for pride, right?
You feel me? And at that point, you feel me? You score a touchdown. It's early. You feel me? You score a touchdown early in the third quarter. Then they score again in the third quarter. And they only down 13. That's a different ball game than down 27-0 on your quarterback that threw 4 picks. The Bills thing, Josh Allen has 30 fumbles and interceptions this year.
He has been quite careless with the ball. And I think that's one thing that has been highlighted this last stretch is that obviously, a lot of them are on him, but I think a leading factor to this, tell me if you agree or not, is that him and his receivers don't seem to be on the same page as they usually are. I think a lot of miscommunication.
He be throwing some dumbass balls.
But in the past, I don't think he's changed his play style is my thing. I think he's been throwing those balls, but all of a sudden, it's not. We're just seeing the other side of that, if that makes sense.
It's like when Curry shoots 0 for 11 from 3.
Yeah, where he took the same shots as when he went 6 for 11.
No.
But
10 for 11.
I'm talking about he's throwing it right at defenders, dumbass picks. Not he had no business throwing that. He's throwing it right to defenders.
Okay, those I don't know. Yeah, that's
what I'm and that's what he didn't threw a couple of you what the fuck is he even looking at?
I did remember that from that. Yeah, that playoff game was terrible.
I'm like, bro, what the? Are you for real right now? He have a couple of those where it's I don't know what's going on with him. And Josh Allen,
very un-Josh Allen.
He hasn't been very good the second half of the season, and they just have a really good roster
for Josh Allen. We can, you know what I mean? We can caveat.
No, I saw some. He was 27th QBR the second half of the season.
Really?
Josh Allen has been bad. The Bills are just so good. I'm telling
They're covering it up.
I'm telling
I hear
you.
you.
He hasn't been Josh Allen. Last year he was crazy. This second, he was very average.
Poor, yeah.
He was very average the second half.
At
of
the same
season.
time, it feels like the Bengals offense, I mean, that whole last stretch of the season, we saw them just start to click, right? And that was like how they were playing last year. People didn't know if they'd be able to come back and have that same success.
I didn't think that they would do it. And they came back.
We both said that they wouldn't.
I didn't think they was going to make the
beginning
playoffs.
of the season, that was reinforced. That theory was reinforced.
At the same time, if Lamar Jackson don't get injured, I think that game goes a different way. I don't think they would have beat the Ravens had Lamar Jackson played. I don't take the close score for you barely beat Tyler Huntley. It's hard to beat a team 2 weeks in a you played somebody that you play. They know the Ravens better than they know any other team in the NFL. Then you played them again in the playoffs for the second week straight.
Yep.
There was going to be no blowout. It was looking in the mirror at that point.
I'm saying it's consecutive weeks of relatively the same game plan.
That's what it is. And whatever you did well last week, they are now scheming to where you can't do that well this week. And that's why I don't take those and be like, man, they barely beat them. The Bills gonna kill their ass.
Yeah, you can get caught up in that who beat who game, but let's stay on Lamar Jackson. And this quote from John Harbaugh today says a lot and is very interesting. And I'm not sure if Harbaugh is reading the same things that we're reading after reading this quote. It says, when asked if Lamar Jackson will stay with the Ravens, he replied, 100%. 200%.
Capping ass.
That's how sure he is that Lamar is going to be in Baltimore come, the 2023 season. And like I said, John, are you not seeing the same things, reading the same press clips, and not directly from Lamar, from his mouth? Are we not seeing, where is the misconnection there? Because there is obviously some very, very hard feelings coming out of the Jackson camp.
Lamar was in Detroit last weekend, I believe. Riding scooters around downtown Detroit again.
They had a playoff game last weekend.
I don't know how much I take into that.
That's what there was on Twitter. There was a picture.
Oh, so it must be true.
There's a picture of him riding scooters around downtown Detroit.
They had a playoff game, and his knee fucked up.
We actually aired that video a while ago. That was an old video. I think that just resurfaced. I don't think he was actually there for that. Because I doubt he would go back and ride scooters again. But.
In Detroit, when his knee fucked up and you couldn't play in the game.
Yeah, that's a good point too. If you're injured and you get caught riding a little electric scooter downtown,
he could.
That might be a contract clause,
nigga,
you know what I mean?
That would have been on CNN if that shit happened. You talking about it was on Twitter? That shit would have been on ABC News, nigga, Channel 7.
Oh my gosh!
Lamar Jackson skipped out on a playoff game to ride scooters in Detroit.
Yeah,
what you gonna give up for Lamar Jackson? Because you got to trade for him.
That's a great
They're
question.
going to franchise tag him.
Yeah.
He's not walking in free agency.
That was my next piece, too, is they're not going to allow him to walk. They probably would just tag him. And then it's if
they don't come to the deal, they're going to trade him.
How much longer do you keep betting on yourself? Because Lamar.
What you mean betting on yourself?
As far as not getting a deal done.
They didn't sign him. They didn't give him the money that he was looking for. It wasn't like he was nah, if Deshaun Watson got $250 million, he beat the shit out of Deshaun Watson on the regular.
That's true.
He's supposed to get $280 million.
That was also just a terrible deal from Deshaun. But from Lamar's standpoint, it makes sense. That's how you have to weigh it.
That's the game that's being played. Christian Kirk just got $84 million next year.
When we talk
it's going to be some scrub-ass receiver who going to be no, I need $70 million. And he going to get it because they reset the market that way.
Talk about resetting the market. Justin Jefferson is up for a contract.
Justin Jefferson is going to get the craziest contract that a receiver has ever gotten. And then Jamar Chase is going to turn around and get even more money than that.
Yep.
And whatever great receiver after that is going to get more. Jalen Waddle is going to get some crazy amount of money just like them. Devontae Smith going to get some crazy amount of money. It's just resetting the market each time.
Slippery slope, man.
Kadarius Toney.
What do you give up for Lamar Jackson? That was your question. We'll come back to it.
It's going to be the craziest trade in NFL history. There's an infinite amount of he's worth more than I wouldn't. The Bears, I wouldn't. But if I was the Texans, I give up the second pick and some more picks for Lamar Jackson.
I don't think that's ridiculous. I mean, what specify some more picks?
I give him my first, my second, nigga, and next year first. You got to.
I think that's reasonable though. It's reasonable.
He's a franchise,
a proven franchise quarterback.
Me? Now the Texans, they don't have
that
the
you can
means,
build your offense around.
They don't have the means to do that. They don't have the money. They don't have things on the outside. They don't have a good deep
the Lions do.
But you know what I'm saying?
But they're not going to go that direction. Jared Goff, I think, is proven that he's the guy in Detroit, at least for the immediate future is what I'm trying to say. So, interesting. Very interesting developments.
You trade for Lamar, that shit's going to be crazy. But at the same time, you're going to have to pay him right after that. So, do what you will with that information. I don't think he's going to go nowhere because, like, quarterbacks in their prime don't leave. You just don't let that happen. Even if he never win you a Super Bowl, you just keep him until he can't go no more.
This is awful.
I'd agree with you, Ty. And so the next video I want us to take a look at is out of Colorado. And this is from Barstool, Colorado. I'll pull up here in a second. First team meeting of 2023. Coach Tim Brewster, has come under fire a lot for this video. And I'm going to be a supporter of the people who are hating on this guy. Because you're going to watch this video and you're like, this guy's a clown. At least it's my opinion. I don't know how you guys feel on it. We'll let the people watch and decide for themselves.
When I say stand tall, okay, I want you bouncing out of your seat and stand tall. When I say stand tall, get your ass up. Stand tall. Sit your ass back down. Stand tall.
Even the coaches are laughing. Look at him. On the left side.
We come. Raise the goddamn roof. Raise the roof. We coming. We coming.
We coming.
We coming.
Look at this front row. They don't even look like, some of them don't even look like college football players.
Missionary, though, he's like,
He's over this shit.
60 minutes of hell coming with it. 60 minutes of hell coming with it. The time is now, man. The time is now. Sit down.
Definitely an interesting one. A very interesting one. And it's had pretty polarizing takes from people all over the internet. Here you have like a lot of people saying this type of stuff. Coach Brew was 15-30 as a head coach. Like that kind of speaks for itself there. And just some of these things, like you can't even see people taking this seriously. It's very interesting. A lot of people were saying like, he's trying to run it like a military academy or things of that nature. And like, obviously I have no problem with that, but like the way that he's speaking to these guys, like I just sit up and stand down for what? Like just to prove, like it kind of to me seems like he's on a power trip. That's what it feels like. Sit up, stand down, sit up. For why?
dumb.
You're just trying to set the tone? Like, what do you think?
Dumb.
I thought it was
I
stupid.
think that'll never ever work in a, especially a locker room like that. Like,
No. I don't think so too.
Good luck.
I really don't think so.
Coach Brew.
Yeah.
I feel like really it ain't really. People they just seeing it and just like when you in the moment right there, you just gonna stand up and you gonna sit back.
Well,
down.
yeah, I mean, I would stand up and I would say whatever. I'm not going to be the one guy to sit down. You know what I mean? But like the players after this, it came out like the players were obviously like
Clowning his ass.
Yeah, they're clowning his ass. As soon as you got out of the meeting, you're like, the fuck was that guy talking about? Like, that's exactly what you're going to say because like, why? Why do you feel the need to go do this?
But then you know when he walk in the room, you got to lock in. I feel it's a double-edged sword.
It is. I think you're right.
As soon as he walk out, I'm like, this goofy ass. What the fuck is the dude? Sit your ass up, and I'm gonna stand clean up. I ain't even gonna think twice about it. So I mean, I guess it's like a setting the tone thing, maybe a respect thing, and then weird ass dudes like that be the coolest coaches too.
Sometimes, yeah.
They be the coolest coaches, the weird ones who go and do dumb, stupid shit like that, and then you feel me, you joking and laughing in his office all the time. But speaking of Colorado, they just flipped the number one corner in the nation.
Did they?
Yeah, 5-star Kerwani McClain. Yeah, he flipped.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
So Deion Sanders has flipped the number one corner 2 years in a row.
That is insane. I mean, it makes sense, obviously, with his experience at the position and just the absolute spotlight that has come to his program wherever he is. Now he's on a bigger stage, bigger platform, bigger facilities, bigger everything with the Buffs. And it makes sense. Now, looking at this tweet from Coach Brewster, he quoted this. And so Danny Cannell looks like tweets at him. He says, if you ever wonder why college coaches don't work in the NFL, this, in a nutshell, is why. And the obvious thing he's getting at here is that in the NFL, you're working with exactly. You're working with professionals. You're working with grown men. You're working with guys who millions of dollars. They ain't trying to hear that shit. You don't tell them to stand up and sit down and do all this shit. It might fly with some college kids, but that's just not how the NFL works, right? We get that. Now, that was his attack. He replies, Brewster, and he says, hey, Danny, I coached 5 years in the NFL and would like to think was very successful. Ask Antonio Gates. Yeah. Interesting.
Killed his ass with that one.
Yeah, that would be.
I guess it works. I don't know why you feel the need to really publicly respond to that. I think the move would have just been to ignore it, but that's just me. Who knows?
I'd have definitely said some shit back too.
I know you would. I know you would. But all right, we can leave that. We can leave Coach Brewster and the Buffs for now. I did not know about the corner, by the way. That's
big.
That's pretty big news.
It came out while he was talking to Jordan.
Did it? So it's very, very recent news.
Yeah.
Good stuff. The next guy we'll talk about is this guy, fellas. It's going to be Ben Johnson, the Detroit Lions. I throw his picture up on the monitor. That way we talk about him now. He's staying with the Detroit Lions this year. 3rd in yards, 5th in points, 4th in touchdowns. The production for the Lions was incredible and on a level that we have just not seen in recent histories for the Lions. And for them to have that production, it shows you because the record that we had with statistically one of the worst defenses in the league for a stretch of the season. They stepped their game up in that second half, but that first stretch of the season, statistically, one of these worst defenses in the NFL, for us to still have this record that we have, I think a lot of it goes to this guy.
I do agree too, and I think next year we'll be saying the same thing, whether we win the Super Bowl or don't make the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like, I think we'll be saying the same thing about.
Hopefully, still singing his praises, right?
Is he gonna stay? Is he gonna go be a head coach?
Because that's what happens when you have a successful coordinator. That seems to be the pipeline or the general rule of thumb for where you look for, what type of pool you examine first for head coaching vacancies.
Especially now too with just a wave of like young NFL coaches. I know we've talked about it before on here, but
bright minds, especially a lot of offensive minds, that seem to be kind of like you said, the new wave.
The names come to Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, blah blah blah, Mike McDaniel.
McDaniel's the guy,
just like geniuses at their craft. So.
Yeah, and so the reasoning for staying here, he said, "quote staying to build something special," and that to me is like you talk about changing culture all the time. And Dan Campbell's a huge culture guy, but when you have something that is tangible. And you can see the culture change where you're retaining guys like this. When you have guys that are coming back saying they'll take pay cuts to be a part of a franchise, that to me is tangible, hard proof and evidence that your culture maybe not has changed, but is changing, right? And is different. And I guess it has changed, yeah.
It went from Fat Matt and Bob Quinn to
Holmes and MCDC.
Right. It's like you...
Two incompetent individuals to two extremely competent individuals.
And the incompetent ones probably put our team back 2 to 3 years. And
Agreed.
I think Campbell and Holmes did a great job of what obviously they're doing now. And it also starts with, I don't know what they're going to do with Aaron Glenn. I'd love to keep him as a guy, you know what I mean? Like the guy part of it.
But but obviously he's under attack for a lot of his scheme and his stats on that side of the ball.
An answer for the defense.
He just got interviewed for a head coaching job.
Yeah.
He did. So
I don't know how.
They're entertaining it. I don't believe he'll be a front runner for anything, but he will certainly be considered.
Can I be like completely honest here? I just don't think he was going to get hired for any jobs.
I'd agree with you.
Ben
I don't
Johnson.
think he's going to be. Oh, Ben?
You don't just come back to be an OC because you like believe in something, because he's going to leave next year.
That was the next thing I wanted to talk about.
So that's why I'm not. Maybe he wasn't going to Maybe he wasn't going to get the job that he wanted, because like when you around stuff like that, you feel me, Kobe? You know when something going your way and when it's not. I think that he saw that, you feel me? Maybe what he wanted wasn't going to work out right now. So the easy thing to say would be, oh, we building something special. Now, if he stays in Detroit for the next 5 years,
I agree.
Then okay, he believed what he said.
So I'm with you. I think that because he did have opportunities. He had at least 3 or 4 interview requests and like people that were obviously courting him to potentially come and be a head coach. But, on the other side of things, a head coaching job comes with millions and millions of dollars guaranteed.
You feel me?
And
he'd have took that job. He'd have set his family for the rest of his life.
He would be an idiot to refuse head coaching jobs. Now, with that being said, if you go to the wrong place and get the wrong head coaching job, you can set your career back and kind of ruin your reputation. So like you said.
Do he want to go to Houston?
Uh-huh.
They don't have nothing going on other than the number 2 pick.
Do you want to go try and fix Russell Wilson? Like...
Save me the time.
The Colts, same deal.
Yeah.
So very interesting. And then you throw into the fact that Sean Payton is in this coaching pool.
You feel me?
He's actively making a comeback, and anyone in their right mind would take Sean Payton to coach their team over Ben Johnson. No shot to him. Sean Payton's just that guy.
That's why I was like, okay,
I would
next
agree
year,
with you 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Pete Carroll maybe retire. Who else will probably be on the hot seat? If the Bears suck, like if the Bears are terrible next year, they'll probably fire Getsy, or not Getsy, Eberflus.
Yep.
Who else?
Good question. I mean, the Chargers should have already gotten rid of. The Chargers should have already gotten rid of Staley.
If Staley choke again, he'll get rid of that. That's probably where he want to go. Probably is L.A. He's Staley coming back for another year. I'll let him choke again. Then I go coach Justin Herbert.
Now it is very interesting though, because that's exactly what I thought. Is like
Or maybe you want to go to the Rams.
He's a smart dude.
You know,
he's a smart dude, and I think he'd be dumb to not take that type of guaranteed money. And I'm agreeing with you that if it is truly about building something special in Detroit,
be there for 5-6 years. If not, like if he just leave next offseason, then it's like just say you feel
you're
me?
relying. Yeah, just say give it to us straight.
Just say you weren't ready.
Yep, 100%. Now I will say it is really cool because he obviously has buy-in from the players. This was a picture that Amon-Ra put on his story, and I just wanted to include it because I thought it was funny. It's literally just I think I have to zoom out a little bit on it, but it's just the little like crying face, and it says like happy crying face. For those of you listening, not like the crying, but like the sappy, like happy crying face, and it says, "If you know, you know." And he posted that right after it was announced that Ben Johnson was coming back. Now, for him, I mean that's awesome because we saw what he was like in a Ben Johnson constructed offense, and he is the focal point of that offense. Yes. So he obviously has a lot to gain from Ben Johnson coming back. But like I said, it's very cool to see outreach from players and to see their support for guys that are coming back. And I will say, even after losing what people thought was a franchise tight end in Hawkinson this year, again, emphasis on thought. I have it in all caps in my rundown. I thought when we picked him up we picked him that highly, and we've seen some of the plays he's able to make as a playmaker. He's an incredible athlete, and I think he's a really good player. He was not the franchise guy that we thought he was going to be. So when you can take him out of the lineup, you bring in a guy, Brock Wright, never heard of this guy in my life. He comes in and produces, and you're like, was it really TJ the whole time?
James Mitchell, Shane Zylstra.
Mm-hmm. All guys that had big games. Zylstra had a 3-touchdown game.
They're all system tight ends. That's what Hawk is too.
Exactly.
Give him the right system, he'll succeed.
100%. And not to take shots at Hawk. I think he's a talented player, but I would agree with that. I think that it was just the Ben Johnson effect, man. He's done a fantastic job with that offense. Now, finishing off this topic, where do we rank the Lions' offensive groups right now as far as the league standing goes, like by position group? Where do you want to start with? Let's start with wideouts.
I'd say they have a top.
Amon-Ra, you hope that Chark.
No, Jamo.
Jamo is not over Chark right now.
Bro, are you kidding me?
No. Jamo has
Jameson Williams will be the number 2 receiver next year.
I'm talking right now.
He probably will next year.
I'm talking right now.
I thought you meant like next season coming up.
because Jamo has not played enough snaps to be a number 2 wide receiver, right?
He will be next year.
Okay, I'm not arguing that. I'm saying he hasn't played enough snaps right now. He has to prove that.
All right, so
I think he
Amon-Ra,
can.
Chark, Jamo.
Yep. And then you have Khalif, who's been out there a decent amount,
Reynolds.
and Reynolds. Raymond and Reynolds. I think Reynolds probably a bigger piece of that than Khalif. But
all right, you got to go by divisions when you do like that. They got the second best receiving group in their division.
Outside of Minnesota?
Yeah, Minnesota, they better than Green Bay and Chicago, obviously.
I would agree with that.
You go NFC South, better than Carolina. Tampa Bay got them beat.
Yep.
Better than Atlanta. And
Saints. That's a tough one. That's tough. That's a tough one. But I would take
New Orleans. I would take New Orleans.
Would you?
Just because Olave,
Olave's
he just went crazy, and Mike Thomas. And Jarvis is a veteran. I would agree. But
Yeah,
so
very similar.
if you go NFC West,
What?
they better than the Rams. San Fran got them
easily. Yeah. So I guess
Arizona
as a blanket statement,
Top 12, top 10.
top 10. I think top 10 is not a reach for that group. I think they've shown a lot. And like I said,
no, they're not top 10. I didn't even make it out the NFC, and they probably already 5th.
They were 4th there.
Right, and I haven't even made it.
Okay.
And I skipped a division.
But I don't want to go through each division for each group. I just kind of wanted to run.
I'm gonna
through.
do it when we get
You
off
know
the
what I
air.
mean? You can do that when we get off the air. It just takes too long.
Off
you know what
the
I mean?
air.
For sure.
But anyways, that wide receiver group definitely coming to its own.
It's nice though.
Jared Goff, the way he's been playing at the quarterback position has been awesome for us. It should just be about
Top
consistency for him.
15 quarterback.
There you go. And then the running back duo that we have.
Top 7.
Top 7.
Yeah. Jamal Williams just scored touchdowns, so it don't really sell me like that.
That's fair. He's definitely been a goal line guy
Top
for them.
O-line, top 3.
Yeah, for sure. That
O-line was the next one I wanted to go to.
O-line
They were
crazy.
really
D-line,
top 5.
top 6.
Dealing with injuries and things like that throughout the entire season as well. A lot of guys weren't even playing healthy, like Decker. So some of those things to consider as well.
And Ragnow was playing hurt.
Yep.
Evan Brown played a lot too.
You lost some interior guys there for some stretches of the season. So I'm just very encouraged by what they have coming back. Obviously, they still need to get deals done with guys like Jamal, guys like DJ Chark, like those guys. But
Deshaun Elliott.
A good one too. A good one. That's other side of the ball, obviously, but definitely a good one. And I think we've got one more piece here, and we'll stay on the NFL side of things. Just a crazy stat I had for you guys from Sunday Night Football. And
wow.
right here, it shows you, man. The average final score margin, the lowest for a full season since 1932.
Holy shit.
9.7 points. That was the final score margin for this year. Pretty wild stat. I was just scrolling through and I saw that. I thought that was pretty neat.
That's sweet,
Nigga, how do you
dude.
even do the math on that?
Right? You
Someone's
just take
gotta be-
you just take the winning score divided by the losing score for every game this year, add them all up, and divide them.
I guess so, but
That's what it
That
is.
seems very time.
They probably put it in like an
It's
Excel
really, I'm gonna say
document.
it's
or
probably
Someone
just
getting paid for
it's just
it, though.
automated. It's just automated.
Oh yeah, I
There's
guess
no way
computers do
someone's
every
going
fucking
through with a
thing.
pencil
That's
and
why
paper.
I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
what the hell?
Yeah, no one's doing that with pencil and paper.
32 to 34. And then this game was 26 to 4.
So that
This
means you got to
game-
carry it and then you go back.
If I just do quick math, this 3 plus is 2 plus is 3 plus is 4 plus is
And
1
I
plus
had
is 6
I had
plus
written
is-
down here too that it's just a wild stat. I think this attributes a lot too to the start of the season. If you guys remember, like a lot of these teams, there were teams beating teams that like nobody believed that should have happened right at the beginning of the year, right? I feel like the first 3 to 4 weeks of the NFL season were so unpredictable. And we get that some years, obviously, growing pains and things that people are trying to get and clicking in play, especially offensively. But this year, more than most, you guys agree with me on that? Like there were a lot of games I did not expect the way that they turned out in those first couple weeks.
I would
Yeah?
I would second that, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And then I also said that the Vikings definitely attributed a lot to this. Because
yeah,
every game it was a one-score
they won by
game. So
3.
we might be able to thank the Vikings for this stat. But either way, I believe that is all we've got for this episode. That was a good one.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
Love talking to Jordan. Love getting on my soapbox today. And everything else that came with it. Thank you, fellas. It's been a good one.